Episode 1. The Interview. Marc Antony has not had a steady job in about a year. He is barely surviving on his monthly check that he gets from the service. His rent is due in a week and he is all but broke. He is going through a newspaper and sees an ad for employment.
This looks promising.
He thinks to himself.
Looks like they need someone to work as an asset recovery manager. I could possibly get the job and learn what the heck an asset manager is later. Lord knows I need the money.
Marc thinks to himself that he has enough money to get a decent suit. Then he can try for this job. Marc buys a suit, a tie, and a nice pair of shoes. He has to use those new shoes to walk almost 10 blocks after his bus ride to get to the building on the address. Thinking to himself,
Man, I hope this turns out to be worth the trip.
Looking around, Marc doesn't recognize where he is.
I don't think I've ever been here before. I mean, I've lived in the city now for years, but I don't know where I am.
He sees a building that has the address of the interview. As he walks into the lobby of the building, he realizes that he doesn't remember talking to anyone or even making the interview. He just remembers getting on the bus and heading here. The building is dark, and he sees a few other people sitting in the lobby.
These people must be here for the job also. I have got to get this job.
5 minutes turn into 10. Then 10 minutes turn into more. Marc feels himself falling asleep. He drifts off for what feels like a few minutes, but when he wakes up, he sees that almost all of the people have gone. He wakes up just in time to see the last person leave.
This isn't right. They had us all waiting for almost 2 hours. I'm out of here.
The man then storms out. Marc looks around again. He sees a woman walk into the lobby. She is a slender woman wearing glasses. The glasses are large and round. She stares at Marc for a second, blinks, then turns away from him.
Mr. 2 is low? Come with me, please.
Marc Antony smiles and thinks to himself.
No one ever gets my name right.
Marc follows the woman down a hallway. The lights flicker. It's dark in here also, just like in the lobby. Marc looks around. He can barely make out the walls of the hallway. He doesn't see any windows. He doesn't see any pictures on the walls. He doesn't see any doors in the hallway. He thinks to himself.
Well, this is weird. I'm starting to wonder if this is a job I really want.
The woman stops at the only door in the hallway. She stands in front of the door for a moment, nods her head a little, then turns to Marc. She then opens the door and walks in. There is a man sitting at a desk, sitting partially in shadow. There is a chair on the other side of the desk.
Please have a seat, Mr. 2. However you say it.
She motions towards the chair and then leaves the room. Marc sits down, eager to start the interview. He adjusts his coat and smiles in the direction of the interviewer. The interviewer moves his chair closer to the desk. Marc notices that even after he moves, the man is still partially hidden by shadow. He noticed it when he walked into the room, but now he cannot unsee it.
Now, let me see if I can get this right. Mr. 2, Ialu? That feels to Hawaiian. Let me try again. Mr. Tour Islo? That sounds Italian, maybe.
This line of questioning strikes Marc as an odd way to begin an interview, but he is also familiar with people trying to guess his name, and through that his nationality. He responds to the interviewer, slightly upset at the question and more than a little nervous.
I don't think I have any Dominican or French ancestry, or Creole either for that matter. I think my great-grandmother was African. Like Africa, African, not African-American. So the last name probably comes from her.
Trying to change the subject.
It said in the paper that you were looking for an asset recovery manager. What would I be doing exactly for the company?
The interviewer leans closer. He puts his elbows on the desk, one after the other, his fingers clutched. He rests his head onto his closed hands, mocking Marc. The company? I guess that's as good a name as any. Yes, the company it is.
You say that like you don't know the name of the company.
The interviewer responds.
Of course, I know the name of the organization. But the division I work for, the one that you are applying for, is called the company. It just struck me as funny that you called it by name. Now, let's take a look at your resume and start the interview.
The interviewer leans back in his chair. The shadow seems to move with him as he leans back. For an instant, Marc thinks he might have seen the man's face. But, no. At this point, Marc starts to make subtle adjustments to try to get a better look at the interviewer. The interviewer notices and speaks.
Are you okay? Do you need a glass of water or something? I understand it took a while to set up for this interview. I had all of you waiting for some time. If you need a few minutes to prepare yourself, I'm okay with that.
No, I'm okay. We can start.
Mark smiles again nervously. The interviewer slides a paper towards Mark.
I'm going to need you to fill this out, please.
Is this another application?
The interviewer pauses for a moment, then speaks.
Yes.
Mark starts filling out the form. It doesn't look like a regular application. He notices that the questions are very personal. One question asks for his current shoe size. Another question asks if he has ever had a heart operation. The questioner asks how often he cuts his hair and what his pastor's name is. Then, the questioner asked if he has been to church in the last 60 days, slowly looking towards the interviewer.
Are you serious with this thing? Why would you want to know my shoe size? I don't understand what you're looking for.
The interviewer reaches over and pulls the questioner closer to himself. He lifts it up to his face and seems to read the answers,
It looks like you haven't quite finished the form.
pausing and giving a slight snicker.
Well, I guess I don't really need all of this anyway. Let's just talk a little bit.
The interviewer takes a cigar out of a drawer from the desk. Mark never sees him light it, but he begins to smoke it. The smoke smell is odd, but somehow familiar to Mark.
You haven't had steady work in almost a year now? Things must be getting kind of tight for you.
Mark did not put the time gap in his resume. He's a little unnerved as to how the interviewer knew this.
You left the Marines with an honorable discharge, but you were not above getting your hands dirty. I like that. It shows a dedication to both your mission and your oath. It also shows that you can separate the two. That can be useful with this job.
Mark interrupts. After the long bus ride, after the 10-block walk, after being kept in the lobby for nearly 2 hours, then the mostly silent assistant with all the attitude, and now this guy with all the weird questions, and he still hasn't told him anything about the job or even what his name is. Mark has had enough.
Look, man, maybe this isn't the job for me.
Noticeably confused, the interviewer responds.
Really? That's an odd response to my questions. Don't you feel like we are making progress?
The interviewer pauses for a moment, then responds.
No? Well, maybe if I just tell you about the job.
Yes, if you could just tell me about the job I'm here for.
Realizing he is close to hearing about the actual job, and feeling like he may be close to getting the position, he takes a deep swallow of air, and his pride.
Sorry it's early, but it's been a long day. Sorry.
Trying to compose himself, Mark speaks.
So, the job, right? Asset recovery and its management. I guess you need someone to, cyber track people who default on loans and such.
For the first time since Mark has walked into the room, he can almost see an expression on the interviewer's face, and his eyebrows rise up in surprise.
I'm sorry, did you say bank? Did I give you the impression that we were a bank?
Well,
No, sir. We are not a bank. Hold on a second.
He calls out for his assistant.
Miss H, I need you in here.
Miss H enters the office.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Did you tell Mr. Tuerazilo that this was a banking job?
The interviewer asks with a slight giggle,
No, sir, I did not.
leaning back in his chair and looking back at Mark.
I wonder where you got that from. Well, no. This is not a bank. We are an asset collection agency. Our parent company is an asset protection firm. They gain and hold assets. Sometimes they lose the assets and we retrieve them. And by we, I actually mean you. Of course, depending on how this interview turns out.
okay.
Mark looks at Miss H, then at the interviewer, trying to phrase his words correctly.
I think I understand what you do, kind of. So what is it exactly that you would need for me to do? I mean, to be honest, I have never done this exact type of work before. I see that it's not money, or at least this isn't a bank, but you have something of value that you hold, and sometimes these things get lost and your branch retrieves them. Is that about right?
The interviewer stands up. He starts walking towards a window behind the desk. He reaches for the blinds and touches the rod connected to the blinds. Mark wonders if he will open the blinds and allow more light into the room so that he can finally see the man's face, but then he just releases it without letting in the light. Putting his hands behind his back, he speaks.
Yes, that's just about correct. The main organization has assets. When they are lost or stolen, we find them. This would be your job. We will provide information on the transgression, and you will enact a recovery. Each recovery will be different, of course. Sometimes you will spend the entire recovery in your office on your computer. Other days, you might very well spend days, weeks, or even more in the world hunting down our assets.
Pausing again, then putting his hand on his chin, as if he is thinking.
I think I am going to make you an offer. I think the company could benefit from a man like you. I will grant you... Sorry, I meant that you will earn $120,000 a year. We will give you a company car. We will of course cover expenses like gas, food, and your cell phone bill. You will have an office in the city. We will send assignments for you to deal with and provide information on each case. Now, something important to know. We are not keen on failure. My superiors look down on that and react harshly. If you are okay with this offer, then I would like to welcome you aboard.
Looking past Marc Antony and realizing that Miss H had left the room, he calls for her again.
Miss H, I need you again, please.
Yes, sir.
The interviewer sits back down. He shuffles some paper on his desk, then looks up at Miss H.
I have a new assignment for you, Miss H. I cannot tell you how much I have enjoyed you being a part of the company, but I am going to need to move you into a new department.
Her gaze intensifies as she looks from the interviewer to Mark.
Don't think of it as a demotion, but more like a lateral move. I'm moving you into asset retrieval.
Then the interviewer stares at Miss H for a moment, as if he is waiting for her negative response. She looks at him and slightly shakes her head no, but he smiles and shakes his head yes. She cast her gaze at Mark.
But why him? I've done everything I was supposed to do. I have worked for you for so long.
She looks at Mark again. Composing herself, she nods in agreement to the interviewer's decision, which she has no control over. Taking a deep breath, she responds,
Yes, sir. Of course. I'll attend to everything.
She then nods towards Mark.
When you're ready, sir, I will meet you in the lobby.
Miss H leaves the room. The interviewer smiles as she leaves the room. He stares at the door for moments after she is gone. Then he looks back at Mark.
Well now, I'm ready to get you started. What do you say, Mr. Tuerzilo?
The interviewer holds up his right hand, then slowly closes his fingers until just the pointer finger is left up, giving Mark the idea that this was not a question that needed an answer. Mark also realizes that he has just heard his name spoken correctly for the second time today, making him believe that at least the interviewer knew all along how to say it.
Okay, I'm ready to start. Do you need my banking information or anything like that? How do I get paid? And when do I start? What are my hours? I guess I have a few questions.
Yes, I will need a few things filled out here, and then we will start tomorrow. Miss H will take you to your new office. And by the way, there is a room there, so if you want, you can move your stuff in. And since we have decided to have an agreement, I have a hiring package for you.
The interviewer reaches into his drawer and pulls out a package. He hands it to Mark.
You can open it.
Mark opens the package. It has a set of keys. It also has a badge with Mark's name on it. And surprisingly, a picture of Mark on the badge. It has some papers and a smaller envelope. Mark opens the smaller package. It has $2,000 cash in it. Mark looks at the interviewer.
Is this real?
Mark puts the money back in the package.
Yes, of course it is. Now welcome aboard. I think this will be a great deal for both of us.
Then the interviewer extends his hand to Mark. Mark reaches over the desk and shakes his hand.
Thank you, sir. I'll do my best.
Mark walks out of the office feeling incredible. Not only did he score the job after falling asleep in the lobby, but he is leaving with a car and a pocket full of money. He couldn't have wished for a better outcome. As he walks into the lobby, he runs into Miss H.
Oh, hello. I almost forgot you were waiting for me. I just had the best interview results ever.
Pausing for a moment and half expecting some sort of congratulations, but getting nothing other than a hint of irritation.
So, what are we supposed to be doing now?
Miss H sighs and looks down the hall towards the interviewer's office. Then she turns to Mark, nodding her head a couple of times as if to prepare herself, then looks at Mark and gives a half-hearted smile. She doesn't seem to be as mad now. She was clearly angry about something before, but now she seems to be okay. She motions for Mark to follow her, and she begins to walk.
Follow me, Mr. Tuerzilo. We are headed out to the company car. On your keychain, there is a key, and in your package, there is a code to your office and your room. If it's okay with you, I'll drive to the office to show you around. You can follow me there.
They leave together, and Miss H takes him to his new company car, then has him follow her to his new office. She tells him she will be back in the morning to give him his first assignment and get him started. The end of episode 1. The interview.